Today we're in Farmington, Minnesota for a very special look at this tribute to World War II and the forces who served. They come from all over the Midwest to take us into this living history display.
It was our greatest generation, and we shall never forget. And an annual event in Farmington, Minnesota makes sure that this remains the case. Once inside the grounds of the Dakota City Heritage Village, you are transported back to 1942 and a living history of the Second World War.
Why is this important? I mean, for so many who don't know about it. I mean, I see so many young people out here. Where do you find the importance in that?
Well, we get a lot of gratitude from youngsters and their parents who say, gee, we never knew about this stuff. We don't get that in school. So we feel we've kind of filled in a blank space in a lot of people's education.
So second line weapons like this would be issued to rear area troops, reserve troops, and field police.
Our primary focus is as living historians instead of reenactors, where we try to tell the story of these men instead of like recreating battles and such.
We kind of do it as a way to kind of bring in all the veterans that are still around, kind of bring them out, kind of see all the stuff that they went through for real, and kind of a lot of education with the kids and other just history enthusiasts. We can show them the uniforms and the equipment, the weapons.
Oh, and by the way, make sure to bring earplugs, as warriors from all sides will be displaying their firepower. And vehicles from both sides are on display. The Americans, of course, created the Jeep.
This is a standard World War II Jeep built by Ford.
Now, would this be typical for what we would find on a vehicle like this?
It's a little more atypical in the twin bazookas, but it is accurate. GIs were very good at field modifications. They'd make things out of things that necessarily weren't by the book.
And holy Indiana Jones, the Germans are coming, the Germans are coming. What is this?
Panzerfaust.
Ja, der Spähwagen. As you can plainly see, both sides of the fight are represented.
You guys are 0-2.
Yeah, exactly.
How does that go for you when you do the battle reenactment?
Well, we're still in that loser section almost all the time. So
then why, you ask? These guys are from the U.S.
My dad served in World War II. He brought home German helmets. So when we played Army, we were always the Germans because we had the helmets.
You had the gear already.
Yeah, we already had the gear. So.
And speaking of gear, I've always wondered how those long German hand grenades were supposed to work.
You get a lot more leverage this way throwing it, as opposed to having a hand grenade such as an American egg grenade or pineapple grenade. Throwing it this way, you can throw it further this way.
We're used to seeing a pin that you would pull. How would this one have been enabled?
You pull off the cap at the end, a little porcelain ball on a string. Right. That goes up through the hollow handle. There's a fuse here, a friction igniter. You pull that ignites the fuse, and then you throw it.
And actually, the Germans did win on this day, as they reenacted a short scene from Stalingrad, and in hand-to-hand combat, they defeated the Russians. No Academy Awards were given out for this dramatic portrayal. June 6, 1944, another date which lives in infamy. The D-Day Invasion takes place, and the war is changed forever. Events like this Dakota City event make sure we will never forget our heroes of World War II. There are very few left who fought on this day, but we had the distinct honor to meet one of the last surviving paratroopers from the D-Day Invasion. He recalls the chaos of that morning in 1944.
They strung us, they scattered everything. All the flights got busted up, and you were a long ways from where you were supposed to be. Even the Pathfinder unit that goes in and puts up a beacon for you to come in on, they were all scattered. Some of them didn't get back for 2 days. They just, they were waiting for us. You got to remember all your stuff is in the plane. You've studied sand tables. You know what you're supposed to look for. The steeple over here, none of that was there. because they just strung us all over the place, you know. And we lost all the airplanes, you know, it was a mess.
In the long run, it worked out, but tens of thousands of lives were lost that day on both sides. Eventually, the Allies would win this most bloody of wars, but fierce fighting would last another year plus. Today in Farmington, it is the objective of this event to keep the memory of the greatest generation alive of both the men of that time and the women, including a fashion show, which depicted the styles of the time as an entire group of women called the Cat's Meow traveled the Midwest to honor the women of the World War II era.
Tell me a little bit about what we were seeing.
What you were seeing is kind of an array of things that women in the 40s would have worn, whether it be in their uniform service or military service or in their civilian life. So we tried to give you an example of the make, do, and mend mentality and also the uniforms they were issued.
The hundreds of reenactors are in it to depict a living history of an amazing time, a time which redefined our world and gave us our treasured greatest generation.
Don't touch that dial! Life to the max will be right back!
Life to the Max is brought to you by Life Touch, photography for a lifetime.